we never allow a tragedy or a pain to cause us to stop everything we're doing and just go down a spiral of depression. No. No, 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 no. We never give up. We never give up. We continue moving forward. We continue acting and striving and living our lives. No matter what happens, we don't just stop and become immobile and say, I cannot do anything, I give up. No. The entire seerah is dealing with one tragedy after another and moving on from one tactic after another. You try your best to overcome the tragedy, the problem. If you don't have a job, go knock on doors, write your resumes, get a new skill. You don't just sit at home and say, khalas, I don't have a job, nothing I can do. The seerah teaches us, you keep on trying. Try plan A, doesn't work, move on to plan B. Doesn't work, move on to plan C. And guaranteed, as you're knocking on all of these doors, Allah will open up another door. You might not even have knocked on it. Allah will open that door because you were knocking on all of these doors. If you were sitting at home, that wouldn't happen. So, and I don't have time for examples, but just learn this point. And the whole seerah is really an example for this. Never give up. Never allow a tragedy to just cause you to stop doing what you're doing. You must force yourself to move on. You must move on to the next phase of your life. And if there's something you can attempt to be solved, you attempt to solve it. You keep on attempting to solve it. And you never give up until you meet your Lord. And because in that trying and in that striving, that is your salvation on the Day of Judgment. The seerah teaches us, you never fail. You never ever throw in the towel. You always have courage, determination, drive. You continue to keep on trying to solve the problem. Plan A, plan B, plan C, plan D, until either the problem goes away or you meet your Lord. وَعْبُدْ رَبَّكَ حَتَّى يَأْتِيكَ الْيَقِينَ. There is never stopping in this regard. And this is one of the differences between the mu'min and the one of no iman. The mu'min never gives up. The mu'min continues to try and try and try. The final point, inshallah, because time is limited. Point number 5 now, the 5th point here. The seerah teaches us specific actions that will help in times of tragedy. Okay? The seerah teaches us specific rituals and actions that will help soothe the pain, deal with anxiety, overcome the grief. So, point number 5 is specific actions that help you deal with pain. Okay? I'll mention a few of them as much as time permits. Number 1 I say 5A, let's say 5A. 5A, Allah says, after mentioning tragedy, after mentioning calamity, Allah says, وَاسْتَعِينُوا بِالصَّبْرِ وَالصَّلَاةِ. As for sabr, we mentioned it before. So what is the other one? Salah. Salah is one of the most important mechanisms to soothe the anxiety in your heart. Aisha radiallahu anha says, whenever the Prophet ﷺ was troubled with something, he would rush to stand up in salah. Salah is a cure to the pain of your heart. Salah is a soothing to the anxiety that you feel. Salah will cater to the grief, the worriness in your heart. Salah will calm it down. And by salah, I don't just mean you pray quickly. I mean a true and proper salah. Next time you're in pain, you're in tragedy, do wudu, go to a corner of your house and pray calmly. Pray spiritually. Pray with khushu'. And when you fall into sajda, stay there, a little bit extra. Subhana Rabbi al-A'la. Subhana Rabbi al-A'la. Subhana Rabbi al-A'la. And I guarantee you, just stay there. When you get up, a little bit of that pain would have been lifted off of you. A little bit of window of hope will come up. You'll feel a little bit better. And if you keep on doing this over and over and over and over again, that pain will not disappear. I didn't say, well, we have to be realistic, but it will become manageable. So 5A, salah. 5B, dhikr. Dhikr. Ala bi dhikrillahi tatma'innul qulub. And of the adhkar, in particular, 2 of them to deal with tragedy. 2 of them in particular. Especially, or more, but time is limited. The most important dhikr in times of tragedy is mentioned in the Quran. الَّذِينَ إِذَا أَصَابَتْهُمْ مُصِيبَةٌ قَالُوا إِنَّا لِلَّهِ وَإِنَّا إِلَيْهِ رَاجِعُونَ. Memorize this phrase and say it at times of tragedy. It will calm you down because it reminds you this world is temporary. We're all going to go back to Allah, and when I meet Allah, I will get rewarded for this pain. We're all going back to Allah, and we're going to meet Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is going back to my point number 3, dealing with tragedy. Another dhikr that should be done at times of tragedy, at times of grief, at times of anxiety. لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله. لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله. You can add a quick one here. And a third one, حسبنا الله ونعم الوكيل. These are the 3 main adhkar, even though any dhikr is good, but especially these 3 at times of difficulty. حسبنا الله ونعم الوكيل. And you can look up any khutbah, any dars about the explanation of these adhkar. So this is 5, what? 5B. Let's move on to 5C. Salah, dhikr. 5C, dua. Dua is the weapon of the believer. Dua is the weapon of the believer. Dua is your personal conversation with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Dua is how we overcome tragedy. Allah Azza wa Jalla says in the Quran, فَلَوْلَا إِذْ جَاءَتْهُمْ بَأْسُنَا تَضَرَّعُوا وَلَكِنْ قَسَتْ قُلُوبُهُمْ. Why didn't they make dua to us when the tragedy came down? Why didn't they make dua to us when the tragedy came down? And Allah says in the Quran, end of Surah Al-Furqan, لَوْلَا دُعَاؤُكُمْ. What is it? Yes, قُلْ مَا يَعْبَأُكُمْ رَبِّ لَوْلَا دُعَاؤُكُمْ. That the concept of Allah's main concern for us is we make dua to Him. لَوْلَا دُعَاؤُكُمْ. Were it not for your dua, Allah Azza wa Jalla will not have that care and concern for you. So dua is the weapon of the believer, and we turn to Allah at times of stress by making dua. And dua is that conversation we have with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Also realize, brothers and sisters, no scholar in all of Islamic history has ever said that dua must only be made in Arabic. No, this is a misconception. Dua is done in any language by ijma' of the ulama. All the scholars agree, dua can be made in any language. Dua, you raise your hands to Allah and you ask Allah in the language you know best. You ask Allah in your language for what you want. You ask Allah in Swahili. You ask Allah in English. You ask Allah in Arabic. Allah Azza wa Jalla listens to all du'as. Yes, salah is in Arabic. Quran is in Arabic. Yes, dua, any language. So this is 5 what? C. 5D, time is limited, I have to finish up. 5D. 5D is ash-shakwa ilallah, complaining to Allah in times of tragedy. Shakwa ilallah is a part of therapy. Complaining to Allah. We learn this from the Quran. We learn this from the Quran. Yaqub alayhi salam, what does he say? قُلْ إِنَّمَا أَشْكُ بَثِّي وَحُزْنِي إِلَى اللَّهِ. I'm not complaining to you, I'm complaining to Allah. Ayub, what does he say? رَبِّ إِنِّي مَسَّنِيَ الضُّرُّ وَأَنْتَ أَرْحَمُ الرَّاحِمِينَ. Ya Rab, I'm in pain. Musa, what does he say? Ya Rab, I'm faqir. إِنِّي لِمَا أَنزَلْتَنِي مِنْ خَيْرٍ فَقِيرٍ. Ya Rab, I'm a faqir. I need something. Zakaria, what does he say? واشتعل رأس شيبا ولم أكن بدعاءك ربي شقيا إني وهن العظم مني يا رب, my bones are gonna break, my hair is spouting whiteness, Ya Rab, I need an heir for my progeny. Complaining to Allah. What is complaining to Allah? Complaining to Allah, the hadith in Ta'if, the incident of Ta'if, I just gave a khutbah 2 weeks ago, it's online now, the dua of Ta'if, right? Allahumma ilayka ashku. Complaining to Allah. Complaining, by the way, don't change prepositions. Prepositions, iman and kufr. Complaining about Allah is kufr. Complaining to Allah, iman. Make sure the preposition is correct. Complaining about Allah, a'udhu billah, this is kufr. Complaining to Allah is iman. What is complaining to Allah? Literally like it sounds. Ya Rab, you see how difficult life is. Ya Rab, this situation is too much for me to bear without you. Ya Rab, I need your help. Ya Rab, my finances. Ya Rab, my marriage. Ya Rab, my children. Ya Rab, whatever it might be, you complain to Allah.